it's okay. It does some stuff very well. Other stuff is a bit crap. If we look at what it comes with, I've set it up now, but basically you've got the mower, you've got the docking station. These two bits come separate for some reason. Inside the box also we have a bunch of pegs. There's a big full bag of them, about 100 of them. Spool of wire, which is 100 metres. Stick's handy as well when you're unravelling it, which makes it a lot easier. Comes with this for adjusting the height. These, which are quite handy, I had a couple more of those, about 10 of these, which when the wire gets broken you just put it in both sides and clip it shut. And it's got a spare set of blades here, which is pretty handy. Those blades go just on the bottom here, so these swing around, so supposedly they don't cut you. I wouldn't test it out though, I think they're supposed to be a bit safer. But you can basically unscrew those and change the blades. They're supposed to last quite a while. To adjust the height, there's a little hole in there. You put this in here, give it a turn, it comes loose. It doesn't screw. You then sort of wiggle it up and down, which is a little bit pants, and then close it that way. So it's lefty tighty, righty loosey, which is a little bit backwards. So yeah, that is the mower. I'll stick it on there. The instructions are a bit crap, which is a bit of a drawback because it took me a while to set up. I did a few mistakes. Originally I set up the lawn about halfway, just to test putting the wire down, which is really annoying because one thing it didn't say in the instructions, which I spent ages trying to troubleshoot, these two wires in the back here, so this is the loop of wire they give you that goes around the garden. It's quite important to get them the right way around, apparently. I had no idea. But I'd basically put one side in there, ran it around the garden, and had the other side come in here from this side, which I thought was right. Whenever the mower, for some reason, reached the edge of the garden, it just kind of went over and wanted to cut the flowers, and basically stayed that side instead of cutting the grass, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if it was wired wrong in the factory or what, but anyway. It didn't say anything about how to fix that in the booklet. I ended up swapping these two connectors around, and it's worked fine ever since, which is a little bit weird. And it's cut the grass. This grass, which was originally about this long, this has been left, probably had a total of about 2 hours mowing over the course of about 2 weeks, I'd say, which isn't bad. I'm just going to start the mower now. To start it, you can, for some reason it likes to be turned off and on again. Sometimes it gets a bit confused. So the stop button turns it off and on. You press this to start it mowing. I might have to wait until this light stops blinking. Here we go. You press this to say you want to start it mowing, and the C to confirm. It beeps for a bit and then it'll go off and mow. So the bottom thing will spin round, cut all the grass. And then later when you want to home it, you can stop it, hit that button, and then C to confirm. Yeah, and it actually does quite a good job cutting the grass. But the instructions are terrible. The instructions are absolutely awful. Yeah, so weird things. When you put this wire around the edge, it doesn't explain this very well at all. So you can see here, I've put it a little bit close. So what you're supposed to do is leave a decent space. It's about that much. I should have listened to what it said in the booklet. The booklet said a lot of confusing stuff, so I started ignoring it, which was a mistake. So I've put the wire too close to the edge, so I'm going to have to move this. Just here, it kind of struggles with this bit along the edge of the lawn. So what is strange, sometimes what it decides to do, at first, it decides to follow the wire around the edge of the lawn. So because I put it too close, you can see it struggles here. And it cuts up some of my plants. But at least I don't have to mow. You got to be careful about that. It doesn't, for some reason, when I first got it out, I did what probably most people do, start testing it. I just set out a small square and set it to go. And yeah, when you do that, it comes close to this wire, goes over it a bit, and then reverses. So I thought, right, you don't really need to leave 40 centimetres between the wire and any obstructions. They're probably telling you that just to give you a bit of tolerance for when you mess it up. But now, place it like this. Sorry, man. Yeah, I kind of have to. I messed up basically. So there you go. I'm going to spend ages moving the wire. So bizarrely, what it does is the first time when I started it before, it goes randomly around the lawn, and you'll see it do that in a moment. It will just sort of go off in a random direction, hit the edge, turn around and go off. It's a bit like Pong, and they'll just sort of bounce off the edge. Go off in another direction and randomly bounce around the lawn until it's all cut. So after a week or so, you'll have a big long tuft of grass in the middle that never got cut, and then eventually, a few days later, it will randomly get that last tuft of grass, which is nice. But not really that intelligent. It does have a nice feature apparently on zoning, where you can set zones in the garden. That sounds quite handy, that. And I'll be trying that in a moment. Which is quite a good idea. But it is quite bad in the instructions. It suggests that it's an IoT device, which it is not. It cannot connect to the internet on its own. You can control it via Wi-Fi with your phone, with an app that connects directly to it. But then, of course, unless you've got internet over the phone as well, through the network, through your supplier, your telephone network, it uses that to check for updates. But you can't control it from anywhere else in the world over the internet, so it's not really an IoT device. So if you do buy it and it was advertised as an IoT device, I'd probably tell them off for that. Also, this is the H750T. Oh, that was a charging station, and that's how it would normally go and recharge if it runs out of charge. So you can see here, it's done the edge. It's done all around the edge of the garden, and now it's going off and doing the Pong thing, where it's going to go off in random directions and bounce off things. For some reason, it wasn't doing that before. It does have some weird behaviour, which is a bit unexpected. Also, the boundaries. If we come over here, it is quite handy having the cable, but I would be a bit careful. Edge in here, I have to raise this up because it said that you had to be a certain height, and it was that height, but it still bounced off it and got stuck on the edges, so I had to raise this edging up. So that's about 10, 12 centimetres high, but you have to have it leaning out a bit. If it's leaning that way slightly, it can tend to hit it, bounce up and go the other side and get stuck. I've even started just dumping some earth around it. I'm going to have to bolster it up just so that the thing doesn't bounce when it gets hit by these things. And other behaviour, which is kind of nice actually. I panicked and thought it was doing something wrong at first, but when you set the boundary wire all around the garden, so I've got the boundary wire around the very edge of the garden, which is around here. So it has a little. There's a couple of parts where you have to have two wires. I'll show you here. So that's around the edge of the garden here, and then of course to corner off something in the middle of the garden, you have to run the wire down here, cross it over, and put the wire around there. And also it does the same here. So I've got another boundary around that bit there. Just around here. So this bit here where there's 2 wires, and that bit there where there's 2 wires, it actually crosses over, which I was quite impressed at. That was very cool. So I thought it was broken at first when it did that, but it was very cool. So it is, for the money, if you want to save £100, yeah, it's kind of alright. It does the job. Unless you want to control it over the internet, then it's a bit cool. Yeah, there you go. If you get one, have fun. Right.